Where exactly did the exotic character come from? Because before you answer, I'll like to stress, because most of the views are American, is that in Britain, in the UK, we have a big history of, like comedy drag acts and pantomime and men dressing as women. It was a done thing for, comedy and everything for many decades. So was there anybody famous that basically inspired your dress, your costume, the way you did your hair, and made the exotic character come to life?
That's a good question. Exactly. I'll give you the whole. I'll give you the whole 9 yards. Right. I was getting over as a wrestler. I was starting to register and all the rest of it. But the thing is, I'm not very big. And in those days, a lighter wrestler, if you wasn't a heavyweight, you were like a third class citizen, more or less. Um, a lot of the heavyweights used to say, like, this isn't a business for small guys. You got to be a lot of this. A lot of the heavyweights too wouldn't have been much bigger than me if they hadn't got so fat. But I had a 27-inch waist, which I wanted to look after. I had a good body, and I couldn't afford to be too heavy.
Hmm.
Although I did try to put as much weight on as I could, but I was just too active in those days that it just didn't work for me. So the thing is, you had to do something, and I thought to myself, what actually happened is I tried to get a fight with a gypsy, a gypsy fighter and everything like that, because his handlers were offering a lot of money. And they turned around and said to me, "You're not famous enough." And I thought to myself, no, I'm not famous enough. What can I do to make myself noticed? But at the same time, whenever we travel, like in a coach, different places, to different venues, they stop on the way, like at some greasy spoon, and the guys go in there and have their dinner. I wouldn't eat that stuff. I take my own lunch with me, some baked chicken, some salad, fruit, and stuff like that. And while they were in the greasy spoon, I would walk and run along the road as far as I could. I was in like strict training all the time.
Were you not a big drinker as well? Were you teetotal on the road for the most part?
Hmm?
Were you not a big drinker? You didn't drink?
Um, no, no. I mean, no, none in those days at all. But anyway, I drink milk and fruit juice or water. Um, and all the food I had was like really clean. And I'd walk and run along the road towards the venue. Like, I mean, it might be miles away and everything like that. The same route as the thing. When they'd finished eating and everything like that, they'd get back in the van and they'd pick me up along the way. And they were always saying, "Hey, come on, somebody's picked you up. You couldn't have got this far." And I used to get a kick out of that, like, like ego boost and all the rest of it. Anyway, it got to the ears of a guy called Charles Maskell. Charles Maskell was a writer for Joint Promotions for Dale Martin's. He had an office up in the, where Dale Martin's offices were. And he used to write the programs and write for magazines and different stuff like that. And it was him that actually, because of that and the way I was training, he actually called me Nature Boy. Oh, I couldn't believe it. I'd always look at the posters whenever I went to a town. When I was getting up to the arena, I'd look for the posters to see if they said anything about me. Like what they actually said. It is usually like Fast and Furious
Hmm.
or something like along those lines. Nothing in particular. But anyway, um, I walked up and one time it actually said Nature Boy Adrian Street. Oh, I couldn't believe it. And the thing is, I almost panicked. I thought to myself, I've got to live up. What can I do to live up to that name? What's Nature Boy Buddy Rogers got that I haven't got? It was the look, the blonde hair, the fancy jackets and robes. I shot out, designed a jacket that I wanted, and got this lady to make it for me. It was like a powder blue velvet thing. I got boots, powder blue boots to match, trunks to match. When I took the powder blue velvet thing off, it had a silver lame lining, and I was going to do something about my hair. I got some bleach. I was married at that time to not this is before I knew Linda. I was actually married at the time. I went home and said to my ex-wife, well, she was my wife at the time, bleach my hair. I want my hair bleached. And that's how I turned up. Right. 27-inch waist, 48-inch chest, bleach blonde hair, a fancy jacket. You wouldn't see any boots, anybody wearing boots in this country at that time, unless you were black or brown, and little short ones. These were taller boots, the American style. Wrestlers in those days were like bigger piss takers than the coal miners were back in Wales years ago. But I had plenty of practice, always had the last word whenever anybody sort of said anything to me. You're not going in a ring looking like that, are you? Oh my God, Anyway, I went out there. Now I imagined the crowd were going to go like, oh, isn't Adrian Street like a fantastic, oh, what a great looking little athlete and everything like that. And that would, thank goodness they didn't. I was horrified at the reception, but thank God they did it. Because I always throw it back in people's faces like any piss taking and everything like that. Straight into the ring. Whoa, Mary, give us a kiss. Ooh, isn't she nice? So I come back like, I wouldn't give you a kiss, you big fat bastard. Ooh, Mary, give us a kiss. I wouldn't kiss you like you're too effeminate for me. I like my men more manly. I'm on my way to the ring and I look now and my opponent's getting in on the act. He's giving it all this and sort of, he made a mistake of turning round when I got in the ring. I ran across the ring, groped him at the backside. He jumped up in the air, turned around, I give him a kiss. I was throwing it back in their faces, but really and truly, I was so upset. But the more upset I got, the more outrageous I got.
How long?
I went back to the dressing room on the way back. I'm thinking to myself, I can't go in the ring. I can't go back in the dressing room and show the promoters, and show the other wrestlers. So I'm upset.
How long? While you're blowing your nose, I'll ask this. Sorry.
That's what I meant to do. Can you imagine? You walk into a party and you think you're going to make an entrance. You slip on. Somebody drops some sherry truffle on the floor. You slip over it, or slip over a banana skin, fall first in the sherry trifle. You come up with two pineapple in your eyes, and everybody's laughing like at your entrance. You go like, "Oh yeah, I meant to do that." You know what I mean? At least it takes the heat off and makes you look less silly.
Well, I've got two questions actually. Is how long since that initial, what would become the exotic Adrian? How long did it take for you to be fully comfortable being the exotic Adrian Street? And how long did it take for you to fully hone in your act?
Um, I decided because, well, I thought to myself, the reaction I got was not the reaction I was looking for, but it was a hell of a lot more reaction than anybody else got that night. And I wanted more of it. I'm a sucker for attention. That's why I didn't like the coal mine. It's dark down there, and I was made to be seen.
And with all the soot on your face, you look like everybody else, of course.
Yeah. So, I mean, the thing is, I kept pushing the envelope.
Mm.
Whenever the people started to sort of accept what I was giving them, I needed to give them more. So to start off with, I put like a little bit of makeup on. So when I'm walking by, people would go like, is he wearing makeup? And they didn't know if I was or if I wasn't. But then later on, like I say, I had to keep pushing the envelope. Later on, it got to be obvious I was wearing makeup, and I started sticking sequins on my face, rhinestones. But then I got a part in the movie, A Drink Out of the Bottle for BBC Two. They wanted my character, they wanted me, but they wanted to actually exaggerate what I was already doing. So up until then, I wouldn't wear lipstick because otherwise, that is too puffy. You know, I mean, I'm not. You know, I was willing to go exotic, but not. But anyway, that's what they wanted. And the thing is, after they did the movie was a great. It was a movie for BBC TV. It was a great success. It really got over. It was actually written by Brian Glover, who used to wrestle as Leon Harris.
Mm.
He actually wrote the play.
Yeah, he was in an American Werewolf in London as well, Brian Glover, I believe.
Exactly. Yeah, you got it.
Mm.
But anyway, after that, people actually expected me now to be. So I started going the whole 9 yards. I mean, I'd wear red lipstick, pink lipstick, silver lipstick, gold lipstick, green sparkles. I got to be as exotic as I could be. There'd be butterflies. I painted like an exotic glittering butterfly on my face, lipstick, everything, and I started tying my hair up.
When did you notice that you were now being featured in more main events as the exotic, and also when did you start getting a pay rise? How long after the character was formed that you saw the benefits of it?
Um, well, that was it really. I mean, with that, I started asking for a pay rise, and I made a good move by going up wrestling for the northern promoters because mostly I just wrestled in the south for Dale Martins. But I went up north and started wrestling first of all for writing promotions, like around the Manchester area and everything like that. Then over to Leeds and everything like that for George Royal Wisco Promotions. And when I started working for them, they automatically give me more money and they pay my hotels and all that sort of stuff. So I'd go then to Dale Martins and say, hey, listen, I'm thinking of moving up north. I'm not coming down here because I'm getting a lot more money up there. I want more money. So they'd give me a couple more pounds. Then whenever they did, I'd go to the northern promoters and say, hey, listen, I'm getting this kind of money in London, where I live. But eventually they start trying to play my bluff. And that's why I started buying houses and everything like that to live in Manchester. So you give them a signal like, oh, Adrian means that he's. But like eventually they wouldn't give me any more. they all got together, had a meeting and everything like that. And part of the meeting was, we don't give him any more. That was it. So they told me I don't get any more. And although I was earning more money than most professional wrestlers at the time for joint promotions, I was kind of despondent about that. And when they told me that was it, okay, you get your rise, you get this rise now. It's the last one you're going to get. So they just give me a rise, but I wasn't happy with it when they told me that that was it. And the funny thing is, coincidence, when I went home, Ulrich Williams, um, at a promotion, Federation, Wrestling Federation of Great Britain or whatever it was, he called me and asked me to go work for them, with him, but not just as a wrestler, as a partner. I would actually own half of the promotion.
Right.
So I said, what expenses are there? He said, well, the price of the hall, the price of the advertising, the price of getting the ring there, and the wages of the other wrestlers. After that, I get half of what comes in. We were going up to Scotland. I'd wrestled in Scotland for 5 days, which meant I wasn't working 40 times a month like I was for joint promotions. I was wrestling less, and I'd come home with like 800 pounds, 900 pounds for 5 matches. Which in those days doesn't sound much now, but in those days that was a hell of a lot of money.
No, yeah, it's a huge amount of money, especially for those days. Absolutely.
And I was the first one to actually do that and leave. Again, I was a Pied Piper. There were different promotions then. Jackie Powell left after and promoted his own shows. Kendo Nagasaki left and went with Star Promotions. Eric Taylor started promoting, and he got Les Kellett. So all the top stars actually followed me like the children or the rats in Pied Piper.
It's funny. It's funny that that happens in so many, at least in American promotions as well. A star gets too big, and then they know their self-worth, and then they get involved with the company that they're working with on an ownership level, and and everybody's trying their best not to let that happen. But then some people are just too big they break through that glass ceiling.